Hello there, great person, and welcome to this little video. So I am currently writing a new story, and it will involve shadow people. And I don't know a lot about shadow people, and was gonna read up some stuff about them. And yeah, then I discovered this one video, which is pretty long, and I took a little glimpse into it, and it seemed to be a very cool video telling us all about the lore of shadow people. And I thought, you know what? Why not just record me watching it? So that's what I'm gonna do now. So let's learn something about shadow people. I don't know what exactly it will be. I will give you my scientific view on all of this, I guess, and that's gonna be, I hope, fun. And we hopefully also learn something about them. And yeah, let's just see what they are. Like I know some stuff about them, but we'll just get surprised and see what lurks in the dark today. So anyway, if you like this type of content, consider liking, subscribing. This is probably going to be a one-off, but I just wanted to have some horror fun on my day where nothing scheduled is going to come out. Tomorrow you will see Attack on Titan and Wheel of Time again, and after that I will probably do some Warhammer again, and then yeah, One Piece on the weekend. And anyways, I hope you enjoy this video and have some fun. Here we go.
Doch ich frag mich, wer wir sind.
So yeah, this is from a channel called The Y-File. Subscribe to them, of course, and watch the video first at their place, and we will discuss it here and see what I think about it, and let's have some fun about, or be afraid. I don't know, one of those. Let's get afraid by shadow people.
Here's how it happens. You're drifting off to sleep, or maybe you wake up in the middle of the night. You
I
feel
see.
a presence in the room. You see something out of the corner of your eye. You try to look, but you can't move. You try to call out, but you're unable to make a sound. There's an invisible weight on your chest, even...
That's not shadow people. That's not shadow people, that's sleep paralysis. I know that it's not the same. Sleep paralysis is so effed. I had that often. Like, some of my horror stories come from sleep paralysis, I guess, but it's not shadow people. Like,
breathing is difficult. You strain to look, and then you see it. The shadow of a person. You can't detect any features, but
yeah, no, that's not a
every
shadow
instinct
person.
you have tells you
I don't
this
know.
entity is not friendly. You hear a light hum, maybe a rush of air, and the dark entity vanishes. You've just encountered a shadow person. Now this one was...
I don't think so. Perhaps he's right. Like he's perhaps right, but I always thought shadow people were like people made from shadow that you see in corners and alleyways, and that hunt you down, that suddenly appear, and that that are not explained by, oh, it was a sleep paralysis incident. I don't know, but he probably did his research.
Was pretty benign, but there are some shadow people sightings that are more intense, more real. These encounters can be traumatic and in some cases violent. I should know because it happened to me.
I mean, if he's talking about sleep paralysis, it happened to almost everyone, I think. Tell me in the comments if you had sleep paralysis before, like, and how it was. Like, I did have some very horrible cases.
Every culture has their own paranormal legends. Asian cultures, European, American, and so on. Some myths exist in cultural subsets like religions and individual countries. Even small towns and neighborhoods have their own legends. People raised in Michigan might not know what a chupacabra is, but
I know that from Supernatural.
It
looks cool.
Dogman.
Americans. Why is... Yeah, okay, so there's apparently a Dogman. I think I've seen that one when I did Multi-Scared in a video. It was stupid. It was so fake.
Might laugh at the story of Krampus, the evil version of Santa Claus who is half goat, half demon and punishes children.
Yes.
Mention him to kids in Germany or Austria, and they won't find it funny.
I have never heard of Krampus in Germany. Like, no one knows it in Germany, I think. I don't think so. Like, it's not a German thing. And the first time I ever heard about Krampus was when I watched the movie Krampus with the guy who plays Ben in Parks. What's his name? You know who I mean. Like that's the first time, so... Okay, so his information is a bit iffy. I thought he would have more, like, better information. But we'll just go with it. Anyway, because I saw some cool clips here, like when I skipped through it, but anyway.
Visitors to Ronkonkoma, New York enjoy swimming in the clear lake in the middle of town. But locals don't go in the water out of fear of Tuscawanta, the Algonquin princess who drowns one young man every year
Just one? I mean, why?
in search of true love.
Okay, so the goldfish just spoke. Anyways, just one person at a time. What if no one goes in? Will she then spread to waters nearby? That would be creepy.
The crab cat.
The what?
No, the crab cat. All goldfish are afraid of him.
Or a crab cat.
Okay, so I skipped that. It was a stupid skit. If they do more like that, I will just skip it. I'm not in I'm not in the mood for skits here. It's supposed to be scary.
These stories couldn't be any more different. But one legend is universal: shadow people. Shadow people are seen in every culture on Earth.
Ooh, that's
and shadow
creepy.
people encounters have been happening for thousands of years. And of all the thousands or maybe millions of
That looks like the thing from, what's it called? Jeepers Creepers. The Creeper. Yeah, guy with a head. I heard of that one before. That will be in the story.
shadow people encounters over the years, the descriptions are eerily similar. Most often, they appear as nothing more than silhouettes.
Yeah, Hatman, hooded. I heard hooded as well. Smoky, normal type, dark smoky, shapeshifter, witch, and shadow. Like, aren't they all shadows?
They lack defining characteristics. You can feel that there are facial features there, but you can't see them. The majority of shadow people sightings happen when you're in bed at night, though they have been seen outside.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think he's correct here. Tell me in the comments. Like, you can see things like shadow people, but I would argue it's something, what you see at night is like dream demons or something. Or whatever you want to call, like, you don't have to call them demons, like dream hallucinations or visitors at night or something.
Especially in dark wooded areas. But a few shadow people have been seen in broad daylight. It's not
Yeah,
uncommon
yeah.
to hear a humming or a buzzing or a whooshing sound when a shadow person is present.
Oh God. Yesterday when I did the laundry, I heard like the wind and it wheezed and it like also sounded very creepy. Of course it was nothing, I think. But might have been a shadow person.
And some people hear electricity, and some people hear the shadow person whispering or even screaming in their ear. In most cases, the shadow people will disappear when you see them. They'll zip into a corner, fly through a wall, or just fade away. But in some rare cases, shadow people don't disappear. They become more clear and detailed.
Yeah, that's scary. Imagine that you have something. Oh God, I might use it in the story. I already know a bit what I'm gonna do, so there will be several instances of shadow people sightings in the stories. And not only that, but other kinds of visits as well from other things. So yeah, it's cool. Like you see them in the corner, and normally they disappear, but then one day they didn't. They became more clear, more solid, and they were going for you.
And in very rare cases, shadow people can be violent.
I just read what the fuck
Hey,
that.
Jane Hecklefish. The first attached image was from the West Virginia Penitentiary in Moundsville, West
Okay.
Virginia. It's a really creepy place that my paranormal team and myself have investigated many times.
Okay, so they just want to make like this is obviously an ad for their channel or organization. That's stupid. Like someone could have just like that's either doctored or someone did like I don't know. Like look at that here. Like this here is supposed to be a shadow person. I'm not convinced. I have to be honest. I'm not convinced. Actually, let me put the screen a bit so you can see everything. Okay, I hope it's a bit better now. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, like look at that. Like what is this? Like they just took a photo to get some clicks. Like someone is just standing there. It's so dumb. Like I really hate pictures of scary stuff. Like there can be scary pictures, but the scary pictures like obviously aren't real. That's the problem. Or it's like from some really effed up person that's like just an effed up person. Like that can happen. I think that's scary. But like these paranoid, like the Bigfoot photo or something, like come on, man, it's obviously not real. I think I don't want to like say there's nothing ever that exists and stuff because I love that. I love horror stuff, and I'm not even like I'm even thinking that perhaps shadow people really exist. Might be like that. Might like perhaps we see some cool evidence here. Like videos are more something I mean would be interested in, but like pictures, come on, man. You can just like, because they're just shadows, you can just doctor a shadow in.
This was captured in the cafeteria by our night vision camera. We investigate in complete darkness and heard movement behind us. The camera captured this figure, and it's known to haunt this location. The second attached
Okay.
image was caught by Oakmont Paranormal in a joint investigation of the Andrew Carnegie Library and Music Hall in Pittsburgh. He
Okay.
looks to have glowing eyes. The lady sitting in front
Where?
of the figure called our attention to the movement around her.
Is this the figure? Is this the figure? Like, that's like, it's nothing. Like, it's nothing. Like, why? Like, if there really was something really terrible, you should get a clearer picture. Like, always, like we have so many good quality, high quality cameras nowadays with smartphones and stuff. Like, why always these stupid pictures?
Her and said that she was feeling sick.
We're going to do a complete walkthrough.
Okay, this is making me anxious.
Do something.
Oh god. Yeah, that's okay, that's fucked. Okay. Yeah, see this? See? See? I mean, he didn't go into the room, so it could have been some asshole hiding to the right. But man, that's the creepy stuff. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like it's just like that was at least creepy, and at least I could be like, yeah, perhaps it was a real thing. Also looked like a person, but yeah, see, this is more real. Like this could be real. This could be real. I don't know, but you know.
The Choctaw have been in America for almost 4,000 years. They were among the 5 civilized tribes as described by Europeans, meaning the Choctaw had an organized and advanced society. They had a high literacy rate. They had centralized governments with written constitutions. They had a merchant class and would trade with other tribes as well as with Europeans. The Choctaw would accept white and black people into their tribes through marriage.
That's
And
cool.
despite all these modern sensibilities, the Choctaw had a rich mythology. They have a story about the Nalusa Chito.
I really love these old mythologies. I have once, like when I was like 3 or 4, I was very interested in Indian, like Native American myths, like the Great Spirit and stuff like that. I really loved that. We had like a week where we were taught about that in kindergarten, and I loved it, and I wanted to know more. And then I think 8 years ago, I bought borrowed an audiobook about the stories of the ancient tribes there in Native America. Really like the culture because they have the dream stuff. I love the dream stuff. And it comes up in many cultures, the dream stuff. So I guess there's something to it. And I believe there's something to dreams we don't yet know. And yeah, very
This is
cool.
a shadow being who appears when someone allows evil thoughts to enter their mind. The
Ooh, that's
Nalusa
so
Chito
cool.
appears while they're sleeping
Oh,
and devours
God.
their soul.
Yeah, sleeping. See, it's their sleeping stuff. That one is harrowing. Ah, that's so cool. Devours the souls when evil spirits come. Like it's also a bit of the like this feeling of it's connected to the warp. Like it's not, but like this consciousness plane or something where these things could
These
come
entities
from.
are so terrifying to the Choctaw that to this day, many people will not say the name. The Choctaw also have Nalusa Philea, which literally translates to long black being. This is a shadow
I know it sounds a bit stupid, but that's so weird. Like they have these old myths, and I think
person who lives in the
there are
woods and
probably
appears at dusk to torment hunters and children who stray too far from camp.
yeah, those things they might a be to caution people. Like it's just the like an instrument to tell people be cautious in the forest at night. It can be dangerous. There can be things like these monsters could be an abstraction of things that might kill you in the forest. Or it might be something real. I don't know because I know these stories are multi like cross cultural myths. I have to read up on like if is there science about this because this sounds like something psychology should have already dealt with and at least done research on. I would love to see that.
Cultures from all over the world have similar legends.
Yeah, I
Medieval
agree. I think
Europeans
so.
fear
Yeah.
the incubus who assaults women while they sleep. The succubus assaults men. The word
But it's again, he's mixing this with sleep paralysis demons, or whatever
nightmare
you
comes
say.
from ancient Germanic or Norse. A mare or mara is a demon that sits on your chest and tries to strangle you while you sleep. This
It's called Ma in German as well. We've got nightmare, Nachtmar. It's almost the same, and that is like a dark dream demon. So yeah, that's like I love this cross-cultural stuff. Points to something we should try to understand,
This
I
creature
think.
is known as Kikimora to Russians, Czechs, and Poles. Even the Sumerians 5,000 years ago told stories of the Alu. The Alu roams the night searching for victims who are asleep.
Yeah, like, and those as well, because you have to keep in mind that in those times, and I'm not completely sure, but I think people were like they hadn't fully developed consciousness. They were still in this like dreamlike state. I think at least that's one hypothesis. I don't know if that's true, but I know it's one prominent hypothesis about the cognitive development of people. And that could well be that there's like this mechanism within us that creates these things, or perhaps there is something to them. But yeah, like there's some evidence, at least I think, if I am not completely off the rails here, that suggests that before we were conscious, like it was like a dream, like everything, like consciousness was like a dream, and we emerged from that dream, like the way we are now, and that's like, so to speak, and I like that.
The Alu can paralyze you, possess you, and put you in a coma. In Arabian and
Oh, in a
Islamic
coma, that's
mythology and
interesting.
theology, Jinn are supernatural creatures created
Oh,
from
Jinn,
smokeless
yes.
and scorching fire. Many Muslims believe the Jinn are real. An individual member of the Jinn is known as a Jinni.
Yes, yes, yes. I know that they are really afraid of Jinn in the East. I've seen several videos when I still did the horror video clip reactions. I should do that again. I don't know. Anyway, they were very often afraid of Jinn, and those Jinn videos were one of the scariest ones, even like because they went into these abandoned buildings and there were really things there. And I guess they were just their friends posing, but or sometimes some tramps. But man, it was so scary.
And this is where we get the word genie. The Jinn are typically
Okay, so I
invisible, but when they
skipped
want to be
another skip,
seen,
but
they
yeah.
can take any shape they want. They're often seen as large, shadowy figures.
These as well, they look rather demonic,
Jinn
but
are
not
able
as
to take
shadow
control of
people.
the human's body, but they can only do this if the victim is in a weakened state. Feelings of unhappiness and depression can make someone vulnerable to a Jinn. Jinn have free will and can be either good or evil. The good ones will support, assist, or protect humans, but the evil ones, they can kill you.
Oh, that's very bad. Yeah, that's what I heard. I always thought there were only bad Jinns. So I learned something new. Very nice.
At a job site, there were more than a few of them. Could never look at them straight on or they would vanish. The dogs reacted to them every time they appeared. Everyone at the job site saw them.
Okay, so this is something more in line where I think there might be something to this. Because mass hallucinations, I doubt that is a thing. I would need to read up on that. I never did. So, but is that possible? I think that's so unlikely to have the same hallucination. So yeah, and if the dogs, like dogs can feel stuff, so
The site was up in the Northern California foothills near Copperopolis. This area was active Native American territory. Also was very active during the gold rush. I would be sitting in
okay.
a chair in the guard shack looking down the long driveway when something would catch my eye in my peripheral view. If I turned forward to it, it would vanish. If I focus my view down the road, I can see the outline of a person,
That's so weird. Yeah.
mostly like a shadow, as if the apparition absorbed light rather than reflect. Part of our pass downs involved sharing what the shadow people did during that shift. Too many corroborated witness accounts to write it off.
That's sick. Like having that as your hobby at the shift. Jesus Christ, that's so scary. That's really scary. Oh, what are you doing? See, this is Jinn stuff. There's gonna be a Jinn somewhere. Don't see it. Oh God, I think there was something. That's so weird. Yeah, this. See, this could be real. This is the stuff I'm talking about. Like, this is so weird. Oh God, I thought it would look into the camera. It didn't. That's good. That's very good. Yeah, look at it. That's so weird. Could be a glitch,
Americans are
but
familiar with the Vietnam War, the proxy war between Cold War superpowers that lasted from 1955 to 1975. But what about the Laotian Civil War, which happened at the same time? It was fought between the Kingdom of Laos, supported by the United States and its allies, against Lao communists. It's also
oh,
known as the
really?
secret war in American intelligence circles because CIA recruited thousands of fighters from the local Hmong population to hold back the communists.
I mean, that's not that dumb, but like I like that in a way, but the CIA effed up so much stuff, and now we've got the whole Middle East problem because of the CIA in part. Like many people don't know, but the CIA, as far as I know, had real influence on all the terrorist organizations that are currently there in power. Like most of them were paid by the US in their inceptional states, at least.
Well, the
So
secret war did not go well
so
for the
sick.
CIA. The Hmong people became refugees, and thousands of them fled to the United States. When the Hmong arrived in America, suddenly young, healthy men were dying in their sleep. Over 100 men died this way, and doctors had no idea what caused it. But the Hmong
Ooh, that's
did know
so
what caused
weird.
it. They believe in an evil night spirit that sits on your chest until you suffocate.
That is so weird. It's against sleep paralysis. I don't mind that he's mixing it in here, though. I'm a bit sad because I need more information for my story, but because I already did one on sleep paralysis and I used some of these themes, that's why I know them. But yeah, that's so weird. Is it like literally the depression manifesting in your mind and killing you? That would be so effed. So effed.
They call it a pressure demon. But as long as you're faithful to your rituals and keep your ceremonial objects near your bed, you're safe. The Hmong believed that they were being punished by shadow entities for leaving their homeland. To this day,
Yeah,
there's no
might be.
medical explanation as to why all these young men died. When this story appeared in the LA Times, Wes Craven was inspired to write
Ooh, look at that. I never thought about that. Freddy Krueger is also a, like, man with a hat.
A Nightmare on Elm
Weird.
Street. Freddy Krueger is actually based on a shadow person. And
Really?
as frequent
I mean, come on, it's not Shadow, it's a dream demon, or like, it's a sleep paralysis demon.
as
It's
shadow
not the
people
same.
encounters were throughout history, it seemed to be a fringe phenomenon, something that happened in faraway lands and ancient civilizations. Nobody knew how common shadow people sightings were. But all of that would change in 2001 when shadow people would go mainstream.
2001, I thought they were
I was on
older. I'm pretty sure I heard about them. First time I heard about them was in like when I was, I think 4 years old. That was the first time I heard about shadow people. I was going home from um, church school or whatever you say, and we were talking about this myth that at night sometimes the devil can appear in your bedroom during your sleep and look at you. That's basically the sleep paralysis stuff. And they also talked about the person. I don't even know who it was. I think it was my neighbor. She was like a year older. She also told me about like people like that are very shadowy and they sometimes stalk you. I
Active
remember
duty in
that,
the
yeah.
Marine Corps stationed at Camp Pendleton, California, I had an encounter with a shadow person. Late at night on a weekend, I was alone in the barracks, stone cold sober. My roommate was on the other side of the base.
How likely is it that these dream demons are some form of stress mechanism? I wonder.
As I go to bed, I turn
Because,
over and
like, if you're
slightly
in the
open my
military,
eyes.
that's
At
hard.
this point, I see a
Marines, man,
shadowy
it's so
figure
much
come out
stress.
from my roommate's closet and walk to his bed. I could see arms and legs moving. I see it literally crawl into his bed, and clear as day, I see the thing turn over like it was looking at me.
Oh, that's so
In a
weird.
panic, I back into the wall, never blinking and staring at what I just saw. I grabbed my phone and turned the flashlight on, only to see the bed empty. A few weeks later, I finally tell my roommate what I saw, and he was speechless and said he saw something similar a few days before I told him.
That's so eerie. Oh, that's weird. That's scary. I like that he puts these videos in. Reminds me of my scary video reactions. That was a good time. Too much shit though. There wasn't enough good material in the end to keep it going. And no one watched it. Oh god. I hate these things. Yeah, look, that's eerie. It could have been just an asshole, but man, that's eerie. Really eerie stuff. Jesus
My
Christ.
husband and I are paranormal investigators.
Of
We lived
course
in
you are.
Oklahoma. We decided
Are there paranormal investigators in your country? I don't know if there are some in Germany. I would have to look it up, but that would be fun to interview some of them.
to check out the Joplin spook light. I just turned the car off when my husband said he could hear a conversation coming from the field next to us. We didn't think anyone would be out in the dark and the cold rain just having a conversation. As I looked past my husband toward the field, I saw from the corner of my eye the light shining into the car was being blocked, starting from the left to the right.
That's
I
so
quickly turned
weird.
my head and watched as 1, 2, 3, 4 shadows ran behind the car and completely blocked the light from the yard light.
You know, this makes it less believable that she says I'm a paranormal investigator. If this would have been a normal person, I would have bought it more because they clearly have an agenda in this. Like they want to sell sell stuff and want clicks. So don't
Although we
know.
had driven about 100
That's
miles
sad
to
that he
investigate the
chose
spook light,
that he
I
chose
put the
these
car in
people.
gear and noped it out of there after parking for less than 3 minutes. My belief, anyway, is that shadow people don't really have anyone's best interest at heart, and I prefer not to spend time in the company of them.
Yeah, this might also be. I don't know what that was. That was weird. Oh god, the angle. Oh god, what's gonna happen? Oh god, what's gonna happen? I hate these videos. Oh god. I mean, that's not that bad. Why would you? No, 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 no! Don't close it. Ah, man. Oh god, I saw it. Yeah, it stood. Yeah. I think. Was it there? Okay, that was good. See, that's weird. That's weird. It's just weird. It could be something. I don't know. It looked like just a hand, though. That was a good video, though. Nicely
In April
done.
2001, Art Bell took a random call on Coast to Coast AM. The caller told Art a story about shadow people. Nobody had ever heard of shadow people before, at least not by this name, but Art found the story interesting and asked if anyone else in the audience had a similar encounter. Well, 4,500 stories came in. And last week, I asked viewers of the Y-Files to send.
So yeah, but it's again sleep paralysis. But yeah, those stories they will add up because it's probably a primal brain circuit that does it. Don't know why. Or you can see into the other plane.
And their shadow people stories. We got almost 300 submissions in one day, one of a few types. The first is
Stupid
just
fish
a
again.
black mist without
Black
any form.
mist.
It may look like a cloud of slowly moving smoke. You know this is a shadow person because you can feel a presence or a negative energy in the room.
But wouldn't that be a spirit?
Next, human-shaped shadows. These shadow
That's so
people
eerie.
clearly have a body, head, and shoulders, though you can't make
Neither
out any
does, neither
features.
does.
Even though you can't see their face, you still get the sense it's looking at you. Like the black mist shadows, these typically disappear when you look directly at them.
Yeah, I think what happens, at least with the sleep paralysis, is that in part your fight or flight circuits are just going haywire, and they project these notions of danger and enemies onto your consciousness.
And this encounter is the most common.
Connect. So he's testing his camera. Oh god, that's so effed.
When I was 8, I was experiencing a lot of turmoil in my life
due to an Yeah, alcoholic man.
and abusive father. At this point
Again, it's stress, always with stress, connected with stress. I have to keep that in mind.
is when the shadow people started appearing. Never doing anything, just watching. It scared me, but I dare not say anything for fear of being beaten. As the years passed,
Yeah, I think I know what I will do with the shadow people in the story. And I can use this as well. Because it's always good to have personal motives and like characters have to have motives and stories other than they encounter horrifying stuff in a horror story. So that's good to know.
My paranormal experiences increased to beyond shadow people. I started seeing and interacting with full apparitions. Once I was with my best friend as a teenager, and a man walked up to us and just said, "Everything is going to be okay." He then walked past us and vanished. My friend just stood there speechless and in shock. When I asked him if he knew that man, he said, "Yes, he's my uncle, but he died 2 years ago."
That's so weird. Again, like these, like two people experiencing it, and if we say they both tell the truth, that's so weird. That's so weird. So weird. Also, hallucinations and stuff can get really vivid. Like a friend of mine, I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't mind me telling you this. Like it's nothing specific, but he had hallucinations before, like from I think uh, some condition, or I don't know, and it's not that important. But he said they are real, like, and you can't discern that. Like it's not like a dream or something where you might think about it, but even if you think this is not really real, and that's wow, makes you wonder what reality is
As a
a
young
bit.
man while in the military, I was stationed at Subic Bay Naval Base in the Philippines. There, many of the locals witnessed shadow people and apparitions around me. The Filipinos would get scared and claimed the Aswang were following me.
Yeah, it's so
Moving up in
weird.
severity, there's the demonic shadow person. These are considered very dangerous. They're similar to human-shaped shadows, but these have glowing red or yellow eyes. And this creature will speak to you,
Oh,
taunt
what
you,
is
and threaten
that?
you and your family. Sometimes the room will smell like sulfur,
Oh,
and
wow,
often this
that's so
entity will grab you or
scary.
even try to strangle you.
That's
A more
good. That's well done.
specific shadow person is called the Old Hag. This entity
Old
takes the shape
hag.
of an old woman with features that you can see, and she looks like what Western cultures would consider a typical witch.
No, those are dream demons,
The
mate.
old
Come
hag will
on.
paralyze you, climb on top of you, and sometimes try to choke you. And this is another shadow being that you can physically feel.
But why would that be a shadow person if it's not a shadow person, if it's just a monster? Like,
Wife
that's
and
so
I are on
weird. Why?
vacation in the mountains. In the middle of our first night, I woke up to the sound of whispering coming from a corner of the
Ooh,
room.
that thing in the
I
background
turned
is
to
so
look and
weird.
realized I couldn't move. Then I heard footsteps on the carpet, like the sound of feet dragging. Starting to get scared, I desperately tried to move, but I still couldn't. I tried to wake up my wife, but I couldn't speak.
Yeah, sleep
Then I felt
paralysis.
something sit on the side of my bed. I still couldn't move, but I felt an ice-cold hand on my face and fingers running through my hair.
Yeah, these normal sensations that you can get during hallucinations, that's what I'm talking about. It's also not just seeing, touch and stuff can be emulated as well during those
Then I
episodes.
felt
That's
hot
so
breath in my
horrifying.
ear, and a raspy voice whispered, "Shh." Well, that put me in full-blown panic, but I was still paralyzed. Then I saw it. It was an old woman who looked like a witch. She climbed on top of me and smiled this evil smile. All I could hear was her heavy breath and the sound of my heart pumping through my ears.
That is so, so scary as well. Though still, again, a dream demon.
Wow.
Also, I heard that dream demons, they appear if you know about them. Like now at night, if you think about them, they might come to you, which, oh God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you probably didn't want to know that.
Holding me down, she
Like, it's
started
just a
tearing my
psychological effect,
clothes.
I think,
I don't
but,
want to get too graphic, but she was violating. As the terror rose, I fought and fought against her, but this just made her laugh. Finally, I could move, and she was gone. I told my wife what happened. We stayed the next 2 nights on the couch and didn't even go into the bedroom. I was
wow.
so shaken by the encounter
But she
that we
didn't
ended
see
our
it,
trip
yeah.
early. I don't believe in ghosts, and I'm not sure I believe in shadow people. But what happened to me felt real.
Yeah, it's not a
To this
shadow
day,
person, it's a
I've
dream
never
demon,
been more
mate.
frightened in my life. Then there's
Yeah.
a shadow person known as the Hatman.
Yeah, that's the one I know. And that's the one I'm gonna use in my story as well, because it fits into my universe. Because of the man that was encountered by Stanley and Bert in the Rocky Mountains. And he had a top hat, so.
Usually an extremely large shadow creature who wears a wide-brimmed hat.
So
Back
we
then,
will get
Freddy
more
Krueger
lore of
was a
my
Hatman,
horror
and sightings
verse
of the Hatman have
with
been
the shadow
increasing.
people as well.
And many people believe that the Hatman is a warning, a sign of the end of times.
Wow, that's so weird. But if they always appear, like, and the times have not ended, like, how does it work?
My story took place in 2003 when I was 17 years old.
I had the single most terrifying experience of my life. I was asleep in my room when I suddenly woke up paralyzed and sensing an unease in the room. Despite
Again,
being
sleep
awake, I was
paralysis.
unable
So
to move
sad
any
it's not
part of my
shadow
body
people
except for my eyes.
like normal
I knew
ones.
I was awake because I can hear the TV that had been left on in the upstairs living room directly above me. As I scanned the room, I noticed movement to my right in the corner of the room. The figure seemed to appear from the shadows, standing as tall as my ceiling, menacingly hunched over. It had no noticeable features like eyes or a mouth. The
Yeah,
figure
that's
was
so
dressed in a
weird.
tall top hat and slowly floated towards me, its fingers stretching.
Yeah, that's so weird. That's so weird. But it's again a dream demon. Like I call them like I don't think they're literal demons, but they're like these that's what they're called. So
Out and seeming to grow in length as they reached out for me. I felt a genuine sense of complete terror wash over me, like I had never felt before, almost like the feeling of dread was being imposed on me by this being.
yeah.
The entity moved closer and closer, its hand raised in my direction almost in slow motion, and I felt a visceral sense of evil emanating from the figure, a feeling that I had never experienced before and have not felt since.
A bit of a side note here. There is a substance, let's say substance. I probably have to edit the other stuff out. So there's a substance you can take where it changes your life, like empirically proven. And what you do during your experience, let's say, with the substance, is that you see things that are terrifying, and if you face them, you will change for the better. And it's so weird. And it's so weird that they all like. There's research on it. It's wow, so
Despite
eerie.
the fear that gripped me, I was also terrified by the intensity of the movement and the eerie, unnatural movement of the shadowy figure. Only when the fear became overwhelmingly intense did I finally snap out of the paralysis. I am a logical, reasonable person, and I did not believe in the paranormal. That is why, after the initial terror left me, I found the whole experience to be rather entertaining. I
Yeah,
mean, the
I
top hat
mean,
was
I
just
understand.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
I never once believed that my experience was real, and I thought that I was simply experiencing a waking dream.
yeah, but what changed?
It wasn't until several years later,
Oh, okay,
when I was watching a documentary on Netflix called The Nightmare, that I started to feel like maybe it wasn't just a
the
hallucination I
nightmare. Oh,
experienced
I
all
need to
those years
watch
earlier.
that. What if you want me to react to that? Tell me.
After several minutes
That
into
sounds
this
cool.
documentary, someone was recounting their paralysis experience, and they showed a sketch of what they had experienced. To my shock and disbelief, this sketch was the exact same Hatman figure that I had seen nearly 10 years earlier. I mean, exact same.
That's so weird as well. Why would it have a head? Like, because that's an artificial thing. Is it horns? Prototypical horns? No. Because a head is artificial. It can't be biological, like from something, like from your primal. I don't know. That's so weird. I would not, like, I
How
don't
is
have
this
an
possible?
explanation.
I paused the show, completely
Oh,
frozen in
that's
disbelief,
scary.
as
Yeah.
for the first time I knew that I had experienced something otherworldly that others were apparently also experiencing. Seeing a shadowy human figure was easy for me to attribute to some sort of common psychological human manifestation, but the commonality of that very unique top hat, which held no significance to me, was impossible to.
That is the thing. Even if it is something primal or so, like, why would it be a head? What else could it be that's not a head? Like, what could a predator have that would look like a head? I don't
Explain, and it
know.
shook
It's
me
so
to my
weird.
core.
The Hatman is a type of shadow being, but he has some traits that make him unique. Obviously, the most notable feature of the Hatman shadow entity is his hat. By
God,
culture,
this fish is
some say it's
annoying.
a fedora like Freddy Krueger, some
Yeah.
say it's a top hat. In South America, they say he wears a gaucho hat. But regardless
It's
of
so
who sees
eerie.
him, the hat is always wide brimmed. Sometimes the Hatman has glowing eyes.
That looks also so eerie.
Witnesses say he wears a cloak
Yeah.
or a trench coat. He's always tall. Sometimes he stands over 10 feet high. One thing everyone agrees on, seeing the Hatman is bad news.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
living in a house where a lady hung herself from the rafters of the living room.
Of course.
Upstairs was condemned. Used to be 2 apartments. There was so much activity up there, you would have thought the apartments were occupied. Once the landlord came to fix a leak from up there, I told him about the activity. He
Okay.
said, no way anyone is up there. It's locked. It's
Oh,
impossible.
that's so
I
weird.
told him there's constant walking around, constant banging, like someone is moving furniture. A couple of days later, my wife and I started hearing the sound of one of those springy things that stop the door from hitting the wall.
Oh, I
Just
see, yeah.
over and over again. Brown, brown. And it's right behind our door. We open the door and the noise is still happening.
Oh,
But there's no
that
springy
is
thing.
eerie, yeah.
Nowhere for the noise to be coming from. But it's still happening. We looked at each other baffled. After 2 minutes of the noise, it stops.
Okay.
The broom is leaning behind the bunk bed and it flies out and falls over. The dog is spooked, and right then the trash can slides about 5 feet, stopping right before the dog. He freaks and he's
Why? That's so random,
ready to
though.
get out of the room. Later in the night, our 3-year-old daughter wants to sleep with us. She's in the middle of my wife and I, and at exactly 3 a.m., I'm woken up, and standing over me is the tallest shadow person I've ever seen.
So you saw some before? It's the tallest one I've ever seen. Like, that's just like a side remark. It's so
Our
funny.
roof is 8 feet, and he was hunched over staring directly at me. He had a top hat on, and you can see the white in his eyes. And he grinned, and I saw white in his mouth, like teeth. So naturally covered my head and grabbed my baby girl and wife. Looked about 3 to 4 minutes later, and he was gone. Scared the bejesus out of me.
The
Yeah.
hatman can create or is attracted to negative energy. Bad luck, illness, even death follow the hatman.
Follow or he follows it.
I saw the Hatman in 2003. I was lying in bed ready to go to sleep with my boyfriend beside me. I was laying there and looked up and saw the Hatman standing behind the door. I had never heard about the Hatman or shadow people, and I thought I was seeing things, when that it was because I had taken a sleeping pill that night.
Yeah, that is so weird. In my one horror story about night terrors, there is a hatman as well, so. But it's a
I
different
said,
one.
"There's a man behind the door." My boyfriend said, "Shut up and go to sleep." That should tell you how concerned about it we were. I eventually went to sleep and thought nothing else about it. My boyfriend died in his sleep later that year.
That could be coincidence, though.
It was within a few months of this happening.
Sometimes the hatman brings visions of a
Like correlation doesn't mean causation.
future apocalypse. Some people who've seen him said he showed them a dark future, nuclear war, worldwide disease, and famine.
That
the
is
hatman sometimes
effed.
gets attached to entire families, where multiple people can see him. And once he latches on, it's almost impossible to get rid of him.
That is eerie. If that really happens, that's eerie. Yeah, it might be because they tell each other and then they incorporate it into it. That's what I said. If you tell people about him or the shadow
even
people in
see him away
general.
from their homes
Yeah.
and in daylight.
This
That's
happened
weird.
to me 10 years ago when I was a teenager. I was sitting alone at the kitchen table eating. Then a sense of dread and downright paralysis came over me, and I was compelled to look at the kitchen door. Right there, I can clearly see the shadow of a man with a hat and glowing yellow eyes.
Okay, that's
I could only
weird.
watch, not being able to move a muscle. His face was practically a shadow, but I felt him smile in a condescending manner. And just like that, he rounded the corner and disappeared. I'm 100%
That is
sure
weird.
what I saw.
Like during you being awake, that's horrifying.
My case
Those
now
are the
is down to
things
distinct
I'm looking for
paralysis
here.
because
Okay.
I was wide awake. It was broad daylight around 2 or 3 p.m.
So who is the hatman? What are shadow people? Some say ghosts. Some say they're from another time or another dimension. Others
Yeah, perhaps from another dimension
say they're from another planet.
or from another planet. Yeah, I mean, or they might be just very like a mechanism of the brain. I don't know though. I would love to hear if there's real research on it, like empirical one.
There is no consensus among paranormal researchers as to what shadow people are, but the theories are interesting. The obvious theory is that shadow people are ghosts, and when they appear, it's a kind of haunting.
No,
But
no, no, no,
ghosts
they're not
typically
ghosts.
reveal themselves as light or energy, not shadow. And ghosts usually have defined features and clothing, so I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
Another theory is that the shadows are astral projections of
No, I don't think so. Why would that be? And why would, like, perhaps some of them might be if that's something that exists. I don't know.
people who are having out-of-body experiences. I disagree with this one too. People who report seeing astral bodies or astral projections describe them more like ghosts than shadows. Astral projections usually have features and are usually light, not dark.
Okay.
A very interesting theory is
Apparently.
that shadow people are interdimensional travelers. Maybe the shadows are actually people from other dimensions or realities and are here to observe. Maybe the shadow person you see is actually you from another dimension or another
why me? Like, that's so random. That's so random. I mean, that would be the coolest thing.
Their timeline. A common theory is that shadow people are demons. Christians who see the Hatman have no doubt that he is a demon or the devil himself. And there's everybody's favorite theory, that shadow people are aliens. There are many shadow people encounters
Interesting,
where the
yeah.
entity has large eyes and a small mouth. Some people who've seen this type of shadow being say once
Oh, they look like. Interesting.
they focus,
Interesting.
it becomes less like a shadow and more like a creature that's actually there. Also, reports of shadow people sightings are extremely common among alien abductees. Maybe the aliens are checking up on their experiment.
Or perhaps alien abductions in part are also sleep paralysis? I don't know, though.
Or maybe abductions begin with the alien emerging from the shadows to take them away. Alien abductees sometimes report shadow people as being blue shadows and not very tall.
That's
and blue
weird.
shadows are seen outside just as often as they're seen inside. Some people believe the aliens are using a cloaking device or other technology that gives them a shadowy appearance. This technology also
Why would they cloak themselves if they're superior?
helps them walk through walls or disappear completely. Encounters with shadow people feel so real that those who see them question their own sanity. This is why many, if not most, shadow being encounters go unreported.
Yeah, I can understand that because they are really real. I've seen them as well. So, like, it's very bad. Like, I see that.
The big
Why?
question is there a logical, rational, scientific explanation for shadow people? Well, I've got good news and I've got bad news.
I think there is. I have several ideas from psychology and neurology how to explain it, or at least how to try to understand that. And I hope there are people doing research on that because you could, I think. So,
We usually think of being asleep and being awake as two distinct and clearly defined states, and usually they are. But inside your brain, that line can be a bit blurry. When you're dreaming, most of your brain thinks you're awake. If you're
yeah.
dreaming that you're running,
Yes. It's just that the connection to your limbs is gone, so to speak.
playing a sport, or any physical
To avoid danger. Like if you would do the stuff you do in your dreams, like you would perhaps like hit your head on something like while you sleep, and that's very dangerous. Like sleepwalkers, for example, have that disinhibited in parts, I think, that
activity,
mechanism.
your brain thinks this is really happening, and your muscles want to engage with whatever you're dreaming about. Obviously, trying to slay a dragon full of orcs while you're tucked in next to the wife would be a problem.
Yeah,
Telling
that's
me
what I
speaking
said.
from personal
And your
Okay,
brain
stupid fish
switches
again.
off your muscles. This is
Anyway.
called muscle atonia. Involuntary
Yep.
muscles still work, breathing, heartbeat, digestion, peristalsis, but voluntary motor functions are shut down.
Yeah,
This
that's true.
shutdown occurs during hypnagogia, the transition from wakefulness to sleep. During hypnopompia, the transition to being awake, your muscles are turned back on.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
asleep during this process so you don't notice it, but sometimes the brain's wires get crossed and you're conscious while your muscles are shutting down. Have you ever been drifting off to sleep, then suddenly you jerk or kick? This happens
But I think that's different, though. I think that's different. Because there's not the fear.
when your
I don't
brain is
know.
out of sync with your sleep cycle. You slipped into a dream before your brain had a chance to completely shut down your muscles. You'll notice this happening more often when you're overtired. But sometimes your brain gets so out of sync that you can suffer from sleep paralysis. This is when you are fully conscious while your muscles are
I really
switched
need
off.
to.
You're completely
I really need to read up on the research on sleep paralysis.
awake, but you can't move. You can't turn your head. You can't speak. All you can do is move your eyes, and sometimes you can't even do that. Sleep paralysis usually just lasts for a few seconds, but sometimes it can go on for a few minutes. And
Yeah.
this could be terrifying. During
Yeah.
sleep paralysis, sometimes you see and hear things that aren't there. These are hypnagogic hallucinations. And remember, even though you're awake, you're still close enough to the dream state that your brainstem can activate the dream mechanism and conjure all kinds of things. So the hallucinations can feel very real.
Yeah,
Not only
that's
can
true.
you have visual and auditory hallucinations, you can experience somaesthetic hallucinations. This
yeah.
is when your body can feel
That's what I
something
said.
that isn't
Like basically, he says what I said. So
there.
I don't know.
The
You
cherry
know?
on top of this horrible experience is the negativity that occurs. There aren't a lot of happy stories about sleep paralysis. This is because when you're sleeping, your brain has a deficit of the neurotransmitters serotonin and dopamine. This
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that, but yeah, that
causes
makes
low mood,
sense.
depression, and fear. The reason shadow people encounters sound so similar is that humans are all built pretty much the same way. It
Yeah.
would be logical for us to hallucinate the same things.
And that's the problem. He's talking about sleep paralysis here all the time, but that's not shadow people. He did talk about the real shadow people sometimes, and that was eerie,
Those who
but
believe in shadow people think there's more going on than just sleep paralysis. The encounters described are too similar. Regardless of age, religion, or culture, people see the same shadow being.
that does not disprove anything. Like, it's a biological mechanism. That's the point of it. It's not cultural.
Believers say shadow entities appear while we're sleeping because that's when we're most vulnerable. So let's all hope that sleep paralysis creates shadow people, because I can think of nothing more frightening than it being the other way around.
That's a cool ending.
Thank you so much for hanging out.
That was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool video. I'm a bit sad it did not delve too much into the shadow people I wanted to, but I mean, it was a fun video anyway. Can't wait to write the story. I pretty much know now, I think, what I want to do. He did say some things about the shadow people I wanted to learn about that were interesting for that. So I will let you know as well when the story's out. It will probably be like a month. I don't know. Depends on how much time I have actually. So yeah, don't know. I hope you enjoyed this a bit. It was a bit unusual. I just wanted to have some fun. And yeah, I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did like this. But other than that, I hope that you sleep well tonight, and see you soon. Bye.